Oh. Do you think it's off now or not? It sounds on.
Remember to turn your mics on.
We have this, you have to turn it back down. That one, too. We don't need to turn.
So the clock calls me into order. That is awful. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic. Oh, we can find which mic's doing that. All right, roll call from
Mayor Muehlbauer,
here.
council members Robinson,
Here.
Udvig. Here. Vogel,
Here. All right, with that, we will entertain a motion to approve the minutes from December 16th. Do we have a motion?
I'll make that motion, Mayor.
Motion by Councilmember Robinson. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Councilmember Vogel. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. And with that, wait a minute. Oh, here we go. We'll adjourn the meeting at 6:01 and presume with the rest of the agenda, which is the oaths of office and moving forward. And Amy, where's Amy? Here.
Amy, if you'd raise your right hand. Please repeat after me. I state your name,
I, Amy Thomas,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
to support the Constitution of the United States,
to support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Minnesota,
the Constitution of the State of Minnesota,
and to discharge faithfully
and to discharge faithfully
the duties of the office of City Council Member
the duties of the office of City Council Member
of the City of St. Francis, Minnesota,
of the City of St. Francis, Minnesota,
to the best of my judgment and ability,
to the best of my judgment and ability,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations, Councilmember Fung.
Can I do it here? Or do you want me to go on?
Wherever you like.
All right, I'll do it right here.
I state your name,
I, Joseph Muehlbauer,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
to support the Constitution of the United States,
to support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Minnesota,
Constitution of the State of Minnesota,
and to discharge faithfully
and to discharge faithfully
the duties of the office of City Council Member
the duties of the office of City Council Member
of the City of St. Francis, Minnesota,
of the City of St. Francis, Minnesota
to the best of my judgment and ability,
to the best of my judgment and ability.
so help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Councilmember Mulebauer.
Thank you.
And finally, for Mr. Vogel, I state your name,
I, Mark Vogel,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
to support the Constitution of the United States
to support the Constitution of the United States,
and the Constitution of the State of Minnesota,
the Constitution of the State of Minnesota,
and to discharge faithfully
and to discharge faithfully
the duties of the office of mayor
the duties of the office of mayor
of the city of St. Francis, Minnesota,
of the city of St. Francis, Minnesota,
to the best of my judgment and ability,
to the best of my judgment and ability,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations, Mayor Vogel.
For the record, his hand was on the Bible, that's why I was there. Thank you. You're welcome. You're here. Oh, this is- And the computer.
You should just be able to.
I don't know.
Being 6:04, I'd like to call to order the meeting on Monday, January 6th. It is now 6:04, and just for good practice, let's do the Pledge of Allegiance again. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First order of business, real quick, I'd just like to offer the opportunity to our sworn in members here, if they want to just make a brief statement to the constituents or whatever. So, go.
I would just say thank you again for electing me to city council. I look forward to serving for another 4 years.
Thank you, Amy.
I would just like to say thank you too for the voters that voted for me, and I look forward to serving in the community in which I live.
Thank you. And I'd like to start off by thanking my God, my creator, for my life and the gifts and talents he's given me. I'd like to thank my family, some of which are here, for putting up with my rants and in my ongoing civics lessons. I'd like to thank my citizens and friends of St. Francis for allowing me the opportunity to serve them and for their support. I'd like to thank the family and friends for the constant support and encouragement. And lastly, I'd like to thank some of the members of the current council here and the mayor especially Mayor Joel, for mentoring me and allowing me the opportunity to really help being on council for the brief five months, roughly, whatever it was. So, thank you. So, on to the first order of business, roll call.
Mayor Vogel,
Here.
Councilmembers Robinson,
Here.
Ludwig. Here. Thomas. Here. Mulebauer.
Here.
Approval of the agenda.
For later.
Does anybody have anything from the agenda they'd like to discuss? Okay, so I move that we accept the agenda for tonight's meeting. All in favor?
I'll second that.
Oh, excuse me, thank you.
You're good.
Got a first and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Agenda's been passed. On to. Let's see. Meeting open to the public.
Oh, we got.
Oh, excuse me, consent agenda.
Yep.
Do I have a motion for the consent agenda?
I will make a motion to approve the consent agenda tonight.
Second?
I'll second.
Second, Sarah. Discussion, Kevin,
Nothing. Everything's fine.
Sarah,
I have no discussion.
Amy?
No.
Joe?
Nothing further.
I don't have anything either, so all in favor of the consent agenda? Please
Aye.
indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. Meeting open to the public. Do I need to state the time too with that or just? Okay. Meeting's open to the public. Anybody who would like to address us could come forward to the ambo. You just state your name and address and state your business. Just
The boot up time's a little slow.
Good evening, council members. Congratulations to everybody who was elected. My name is Jackie Godell. My address is 23485 Hopi Street, St. Francis, Minnesota, 55070. I am the Vice President and Program Coordinator for the Miss St. Francis Ambassador Program. And here with me today is our little Mrs. Piper and Emma. Our misses had further obligations, and my daughter Mackenzie, who is in training to take my position, which isn't for like 4 years, but it takes a lot to learn my position. I wanted to be here to congratulate you guys, to let you guys know that we're here for anything that you guys need. We do represent the city of St. Francis all over the state and into Wisconsin. We do tons of community service work, and we want to get more involved with the city itself. Doing things with the city council, doing stuff with the public works, with the police, with the fire department. We do a lot with. Please bring more stuff to us. We really want to be more involved. And then I also wanted to extend an invitation to Mayor Vogel for coming to our coronation on Pioneer Days on May 31st at the park at 3 p.m. To present the outgoing ambassadors with some certificates and to speak to the public. Every mayor prior has done that. Sarah has done it in replace of Steve Feldman. So, but Sarah this year is a judge for us. So she will be picking the new ambassadors. So, and if anybody has daughters and that would like to run for us, we are always recruiting. So, but thank you for giving me the opportunity to come and talk with you all tonight. You guys want to say hi? Thank you, guys.
thank you. Real quick, have you talked to Kate? Have you guys plugged in maybe on the open house, being a presence at the open
Yep,
house?
we've been talking to Jenny and
Perfect.
they're gonna be there. I will be in Iowa rooting on my son for his bowling tournament. So, but the girls will be there. So,
Thank you.
thank you.
Anybody else? Last call. We will now go on to our next item of business, which is new business. Code revisions, first reading. Kate or who?
So Mayor and Council, so we'll reference over to community development.
Beth, the city planner, is on maternity leave, and in her place, we have Jason Zimmerman, and he has a couple of presentations prepared.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. Jason Zimmerman, as was mentioned, and I'm filling in for Beth. So she passed along the information to me, and I'll go through it and give you any commentary that I can. We have two different things before you tonight. The first one is some kind of end of year, beginning of year housekeeping from 2024 code revisions that my understanding is last few years you've been doing this. As the year unfolds, we look at the code. If there are errors or things that need to be changed, if they're not pressing, we wait to the end of the year and kind of take care of them all at once. So there are, I think, 4 different portions of the code that we're looking at tonight. 3 of them are really just minor things, errors, clerical typos, things like that, and then a handful of things within the zoning chapter. the zoning chapter items did go before the planning commission and they reviewed those. And so I'll be covering those in most detail. The first change is really looking at some of the regulations around childcare centers. Looking at the zoning code, we wanted to make sure that it's current and consistent with some of the standards in Minnesota statute. They're very clear in there around how many people or how many children are covered in the different types of zoning districts. And so the changes that are included tonight are just to update that to make sure in the various zoning districts in the city, we're covering consistent how many children are allowed in those daycare centers. A second area related to daycares is we have some off-street parking requirements within the section dealing with daycare. We also have those requirements in our parking table, and those are inconsistent at the moment. And to make sure there's consistency, we're going to strike those requirements from the daycare section and just leave the parking table and all the requirements there. So it's all in one location. The second area we're making some changes is to the accessory structure. Currently, the way the code is written, there's a break and it says if you are under 200 square feet, you don't need a building permit, just zoning review. And if you're over 200 square feet, you need a building permit. But there's a gap of anything that would be exactly 200 square feet that's not technically covered. So the code is being modified just to indicate that if it's 200 square feet or greater, that does require a building permit. Speaking of accessory structures, looking at schools, on school campuses, we made some recommendations for changes to really exempt some of the standards around accessory structures. School campuses often have multiple structures, and so giving them some flexibility in terms of building standards, the number of accessory structures, height limitations, giving some waivers from those, although they still must meet all the general standards. And then finally, adding some clarity around distances between detached accessory structures. They have to be at least 10 feet from any other structure, including the principal structure on the same lot. A few other things is a section on waste, refuse, junk, and recyclable material. Just clarifying there that any unlicensed or inoperable vehicles need to be stored inside or need to be removed after 30 days. Again, the Planning Commission reviewed these zoning changes. There was a public hearing in December. They made a few tweaks, some of the language around recreational vehicles, some parking on driveways and front yards. And you saw that in your memo. And they proposed removing some requirements that vehicles be parked behind the front plate of the building, being concerned there would not be necessarily enough space for some of those vehicles on some lots. But with those changes, as they recommended, they unanimously recommended approval of those changes. You can see the language here. The existing provision talks about unlawful for any person to park or store an RV vehicle, utility trailer, boat, or unlicensed vehicle in the required setbacks. There's a carve out for properties less than 9 acres. It is noted they have to be parked on an approved parking pad or surface, and they cannot park within a drainage and utility easement. So tonight we are asking you on first reading to take a look at 4 different ordinances, one for each of the other 3 sections of code, and then a 4th one dealing with all of the zoning changes. So you see those 4 ordinances listed in front of you. And so I'm happy to answer any questions I can. Otherwise, the Community Development Director who's at the meeting could handle any other questions.
Sir, any questions?
I do not have any questions.
Amy?
I don't have any questions.
Joe?
I have nothing.
Kevin?
Yeah, I do have a couple of questions. So with the changes or suggestions that the planning zoning people suggested, what are they taking into consideration? And I didn't really see those red line. As far as A, the parking in front of the plane of the building, and then B, parking pad per se there. I was present at that meeting. And there was some discussion about impervious surface and not pervious. Are those taken into consideration? And I didn't really see a red line unless I missed them.
Yes, so the goal when we proposed the amendment was to limit parking of recreational vehicles and the location of the parking pad behind the front plane of the building. And now it's allowed in the front yard, just not within the setback.
Okay. All right, and then the parking pad, did you determine, and again, if I missed it, I apologize. As far as what, if it's aggregate, recycled concrete, recycled asphalt. There, I mean, we have some older homes here that, I mean, years ago, we had a citizen that had a dirt driveway, but yet their RV was off to the side in the grass. We were complaining about where the RV was parked, but we never inquired that they had to have nor could they afford a concrete driveway. They've had a dirt driveway for many, many years, so it's kind of a dichotomy there of what do you do?
Yeah, we didn't really look into if the driveway was unpaved, but it is in code. It does say an impervious surface, so pavers, bituminous. But we could,
Does that have to be stated though? Do you think it just seems kind of broad that people might, and maybe it's better left broad, open like
Yeah.
that.
yeah, instead of specific to the properties that were allowed to have unpaved driveways. So it is left broad.
Okay. But I meant the parking area for like the RV or boat, except for the pad that they're talking about here. We'll just leave that open then as well, as far as impervious surface.
It is specific to the parking pad. It does have to be on an impervious surface
Okay,
for this instance.
okay. All right, that's all I had, Mayor. Thank you.
I actually listened to the planning zoning. And I really like the new audio, by the way. It was great. But there was no video. I don't know if is that video something that we want, we don't want? I'm just curious.
No, it was, we shared the presentation. So until you unshare the presentation, the 3 screens don't come up. So that was just next time when she's finished with, or Jason is finished with his presentation, we will unshare the presentation and then the video will come back up.
Thanks. And then I just want to make a comment. I found the input from the citizens on the panel I really appreciated the discussion about the front plane of the building, because otherwise there would have been a whole lot of people. I don't think it would have worked. So I appreciate their input on
Yeah.
that.
It was a good discussion.
So do I need a motion then in a second to?
It could be 4 motions.
Yep. Okay, so anybody want to make a motion to approve?
I will entertain a motion, or I don't entertain. I make a motion. It's different. I will make a motion to approve ordinance 339, chapter 4, building regulations and permits.
Second?
I'll second, Mayor.
Any further discussion? None, roll call.
Mayor Vogel,
Aye.
Councilmember Spanes,
I,
Mulebauer,
I,
Ludwig. Aye. Robinson,
Aye.
On to ordinance 340.
I will make a motion to approve ordinance 340, chapter 7, right of way traffic, parking and streets.
Second,
I'll second it.
Jason, or I don't know who wants to present on this. Who's,
Yes, he has the next presentation.
okay, you're up.
I'm sorry, we're gonna, there's 4 different ordinances just on this
Oh.
topic before we get to the next one.
Gotcha. All right, sorry. So.
It's a learning curve.
That's right.
So you have motions on the table and then we have a second, right?
Yep,
Yep.
Amy second, so it's a ordinance roll call.
Yep, correct. Any further discussion before we go to roll call?
No further discussion.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Robinson,
Aye.
Ludwig,
Aye.
Mulebauer,
I,
Spanes,
I,
Mayor Vogel.
Aye. On to ordinance 341. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Second,
I'll second, Mayor.
any discussion? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Mayor Vogel,
Aye.
Councilmember Spanes,
I,
Ludwig,
Aye.
Mulebauer,
I,
Robinson,
Aye.
And last but not least, ordinance 342. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion, Mayor.
Second,
I'll second.
any further discussion? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Councilmembers Mulebauer,
I,
Spanes,
I,
Mayor Vogel.
Aye.
Councilmember Ludwig,
Aye.
Robinson,
Aye.
And Mr. Mayor, I will denote that in all 4 motions, the motion did carry. So each one was approved,
Thank you.
just for the record.
Thank you for clarification. Next, I'm going to. Where am I going next?
item B.
Okay. Cannabis zoning code amendment, first reading. Ordinance 343. Do you want a motion right away or?
Mayor
Okay.
and Council, we've got another presentation by
Okay.
Jason.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. I'll run through this one as well. As I think most of you are aware, in 2023, the legislature approved some legislation to expand the legalization of THC and cannabis products and businesses. They established that Office of Cannabis Management, the OCM, and they gave local governments limited authority to adopt some restrictions, really focused on time, place, and manner of those businesses. And so as the end of 2024 happened and 2025 started, cities have an opportunity to adopt zoning regulations or amendments as needed. Typically, these include definitions around all those cannabis uses, the uses themselves, and then specific standards around cannabis. So the council held a work session back in October and provided some input to staff on those regulations. The city code regulations really around the registration, compliance with state statutes and kind of business management were approved at your December council meeting. But now we are here in January looking at the zoning portion as it relates to cannabis. So as I mentioned, there are really three areas we're looking at, making sure we have definitions included in the zoning chapter, specific uses that are allowed and which districts they're allowed in, and then some use-specific standards. I won't read through these all, but there's a number of definitions related to the different types of cannabis businesses and activities. So there's cultivation, cannabis delivery, manufacturing, retail, transportation of these products, wholesale, and then again, a carve out for some lower potency hemp edible retail. And these are very consistent with what has been approved in state statute. Actually, many cities across the state are doing this. And so these come right out of the state statute definitions, but will be included in our city code. Cannabis businesses have to be allowed within the city, but we can designate which districts they are allowed in. And what staff did is looked at the type of business and then looked at the appropriate zoning district based on kind of similar types of uses. So as you see here on the left-hand side, all those types of uses that are now allowed under the new legislation, whether it's retail, delivery, manufacturing, et cetera. And then on the right-hand side, that table of all the different zoning districts. We've tried to match up which ones are allowed in which districts. So you see in the A districts, the agricultural districts, that's where the outdoor cultivation is allowed. Your B, your business districts, that's where the retail is allowed. The business park, I'm assuming, the BPK district, we have some manufacturing and wholesale uses. And then the I industrial district, a number of the delivery, manufacturing, transportation, as well as that indoor cultivation. So you can see which district those uses are allowed in. The uses that have the P are allowed by right, but the ones, especially the retail ones that are PS, those are permitted with standards, which means in the next slides, we'll see some specific standards that we are recommending be included for some additional regulation. The state statute is very clear about the limited amount of regulation that cities can impose. One thing they do allow is some buffer distances between certain uses and those cannabis or hemp retail sites. So we're looking at, the location of a kindergarten through 12th grade school, cannabis retail would need to be at least 1,000 feet away. For a daycare, it's 500 feet. A residential treatment facility, also 500 feet. And if you have a public park with an attraction such as a playground or a ball field, 500 feet from that location as well. All of these are the maximum distances that can be applied coming from state statute. In terms of hours of operation of those retail businesses, those are limited as well. And so we're looking at 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. Monday through Saturday, and then limited hours 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. on Sundays. Lower potency hemp edible retail use, not quite the same standards, but one thing that is allowed under the recommended amendment to the code, sales of these edibles would be permitted in a municipal liquor store here in St. Francis, and also the sale of hemp beverages would be permitted. But they still have to follow all the requirements from the Office of Cannabis Management that is underway. The Planning Commission did hold their public hearing on these zoning amendments in December. They had discussion and had some questions around those maximum buffer distances. They clarified the city is planning to limit the number of retail cannabis businesses to the extent possible. And they discussed what potential revenue there might be from potential municipal sales. And in the end, they unanimously recommended approval of all of these zoning amendments. So tonight, we're asking you to take action on these zoning amendments with the first reading of Ordinance 343. Happy to take questions.
Amy?
I don't have any questions.
Joe?
I don't know if you can answer this. You probably can't because I don't think anybody can, even the state. Do you foresee a lot more changes with the state coming that we're gonna end up amending a lot of these or?
Yeah, Mayor, council member. I think as we've been doing this for a number of cities around the metro area and the state, we all anticipate there will be some changes coming. We don't know exactly what they are. I think as they start to roll out some of the registration and licensing later in the year, we're going to recognize there's some areas where there may be some gaps or some amendments. But I think we've been recommending that everyone get what we know and can get into code now to have some protection. And over time, if we have to make some amendments, we'll have a chance to kind of evaluate and make those corrections, whether it's 6 months or a year or 2 years down the road.
Thank you. Appreciate that. That's all I have.
My only question, the hours of operation, is that a template off of other, will everybody be following the same guidelines, or will some stores have advantages over others as far as hours open?
Yeah, Mayor, council member, there is a limited amount to which you can restrict the hours of operation within the state statute. And I think we are as close to that as we can be. So most businesses across the state will be allowed to be open. I know they're all 7 days a week and the hours are generally in this area. So I think it's a pretty even playing field.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Sarah?
I don't have any questions on this.
I don't really have any questions. I'm not thrilled with the whole situation. We're not a wonderful state, but it is what it is. So with that, do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make that motion, Mr. Mayor.
Motion by Sarah, a second,
I'll second.
second by Joe. All in favor?
Aye.
Ordinance.
Oh, I'm sorry, ordinance roll call, my fault. Sorry.
Mayor Vogel,
Aye.
council members Mulebauer,
Aye.
Faunes,
Aye.
Ludwig,
Aye.
Robinson.
Aye.
Ordinance is approved.
First reading.
First reading.
Yep.
Down to, next on our agenda was the code of conduct, and I've requested that be moved to a work session.
I will make a motion to continue it to the work session.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
First and a second, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So we'll move that to a work session, to be determined. Next, we have meeting open to the public again. Anybody else wish to address council? Anybody? Seeing none, we'll close the meeting open to the public and we'll go on to staff reports. I don't see any there. Any staff reports? None. Council member reports. Joe.
I don't have a lot to report. I enjoyed the holidays. Hope everybody had a safe holiday. I just look forward to serving again for this term. I'd like to congratulate the other members that made it. And this is your first meeting as mayor, and I look forward to future meetings with you, Mark. I think that the jitters will come out as we move on, and it's the procedural stuff that gets easier. So it's always fun the first meeting. I even try to entertain emotions, so that's how it goes. Thank you.
Kevin.
I want to congratulate the new people also. Welcome aboard. It's a learning curve. It's fun. It takes you about a year to get your feet wet, but it'll be it's good to be a part of this community. And we got a good staff that's supporting us, and the community's been supporting us well so far. So welcome. I also attended the planning and zoning meeting on the 18th of December. And then I also attended a small meeting at the Public Works with the new mayor, Vogel. We discussed warming house situation, the ice rink and the property thereof, expansion or revamping the recycle center or adding to it, trying to offer more to the citizens about recycling and why we do what we do. And then some parks anticipated moves or some things about the parks department and what the park commission that's been formed as well. So that's all I have.
Kevin, Sarah.
Yes, welcome, Mimi, and congratulations, Joe and Mark, on your appointments also. I encourage you guys to go to the League of Minnesota training. League of Minnesota training. It was really good. It was helpful. You network with people there who are also new and some who have been on for a little bit, and it's a really good chance to learn. So I encourage you to both make sure that you attend that. And I just also want to thank our friend Vicky, who sat with us for many years at the district office. We appreciated her being there for our meetings, and we hope she comes and visits us sometime.
Thank you, Sarah.
Mhm.
I also attended just kind of an informal chat with Kevin and Paul, and it was just a great discussion. I appreciate the discussion. Lots of different. Paul's an idea guy. I get that. He's got a lot of ideas, and I love it. I love ideas. So don't ever stop presenting the ideas. Kevin summarized it beautifully. It's just covered a variety of different topics. So stay tuned and keep everybody abreast as things go on. Last thing I just want to talk about real quick, and I don't know that falls necessarily under this, but how do we set that work session then? Do you want to?
So Mayor and Council, I was going to bring a to the next meeting. We're with the charter and everything in January. We're out to February for a work session. So we can either set it at this point, if you'd like to set a time in February for a work session, or I can bring it to the next meeting.
I just assume get it on the calendar, the sooner the
Okay.
better. So I don't know what everybody, if everybody can pull their calendar up with.
So we've got existing council meetings on February 3rd and the 18th. So Monday, the 10th would be an opening. Otherwise, on the 24th. Those are your 2 Mondays. Otherwise, we can go into the week as well.
Both those work for me, so I don't know about the rest of you, but 10th or the 24th, could either one, I'm open.
Both work for me.
Yeah, I'm good too.
February 10th or
24th.
24th.
the 10th, yeah, either ones are good for me as well. Sooner is always better.
Sounds.
Sarah,
The 10th works.
let's just go for the 10th then.
All right, so it will be in this room, February 10th at, should we say 5:30, 6 o'clock?
Yeah, I'm open to whatever. If anybody has a preference there, fire away.
5:30 is fine for me.
Yeah, let's go for 5:30.
Sounds good.
Just so everybody in the public knows, that is open to the public. There's no public forum or public discussion, but you're welcome to join us if you want to hear our work session discussions. So I encourage you to do so. Upcoming events. January 15th, Planning Commission meeting, January 20th, just so everybody knows, the city office is closed for Martin Luther King Day. January 21st will be our next city council meeting. January 27th is the city charter meeting. And February 1st is the City Hall Fire Station Open House. If I haven't told you already, I am definitely on board to be there. So I encourage the other board members, if you're willing and able, to let Kate know or Jenny know.
We would love the volunteer help.
Time we gotta be here.
8:30 a.m. Okay.
Mayor, I have a question.
Yes, yes.
I just noticed February 10th is gonna be a problem for me. I don't want to miss any sessions if possible, but I hate to disrupt everybody else's.
Not a problem for me.
I think everybody here is flexible, so I don't know, 24th.
24th would be fine. If you would, I appreciate the indulgence. Thank you.
Okay, seeing nothing else on the agenda, make a motion to, or not, excuse me, open for adjournment. Anybody?
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Joel, second.
I'll second it.
Second by Amy. All in favor?
I.
Aye.
Meeting's adjourned. Thank you, everyone.